I'm here with my ex-girlfriend. We're going to be talking about whether sexuality is fluid. Some people say it is, some people say it isn't. Some people who say it isn't are concerned that if sexuality is fluid, if this idea like becomes the norm, then people will use that to kind of try and cure gay people if sexuality isn't fixed. But some people feel that their sexuality is fluid. For context, we broke up like 6 years ago now.
Yeah. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. It's been a while. And since then, you dated one other woman.
No, I dated two other women.
Two other women. Oh, yeah, you told me. Two other women. But now you're engaged.
Yes, I am. I'm engaged to a man.
Okay, and so tell me a bit about that, because we had a chat, and you thought I was going to be shocked when you were like, I'm dating someone, but, and I was like, is it Moon? And you were like, oh, yes, what? So you dated women for like 9 or 10 years, right? Exclusively.
Yeah. I went through the whole teenage questioning your sexuality thing, and I dated a dude very, very briefly before I realized it's not for me. And I dumped him within like a week. And he was such a great guy. I feel really bad, but yeah, it just wasn't. And then I kind of, just tried stuff out with a girl. And then I realized, okay, I'm definitely not bi. I am gay. And then since then, so I would have been about 19. Since then, I'd exclusively dated women. I had no interest in men whatsoever. I came out to my family and friends, and I dated women exclusively for, almost 10 years or something. And then I got asked out by this guy. We went for coffee, and I was just so shocked that I actually realized there was an attraction, like physical attraction. And I flipped the shit out and was literally about to pull the plug on the whole thing, because I just couldn't handle the idea of dating a guy after all that. Like, it just felt so foreign and strange to me. But then I thought, like, if any straight friend of mine came to me and said, like, hey, oh my god, all of a sudden I find myself attracted to such and such girl and she's so great and we have so much in common, I would say, like, dude, go for it. Like, don't let that stop you. So I just kind of felt like, there's no difference. It's the same thing. Love is love. And I thought I would take my own advice for once and just kind of try and be brave and just kind of, see how that goes. And, now fast forward 3 years, we're engaged. We're getting married in 2019. I hope. We haven't set a date yet. That's just a loose... Yeah, but that's kind of what happened. So, but it was absolutely a shock. When I told my parents, they thought I was joking. Yeah. No, you came to visit from Australia. You were visiting New Zealand for literally a week?
Yeah, a week or two.
Yeah, and it just so happened that in that week I went on that first date with Moon. And then I was telling Britta all about it because she was staying at my place. I was like, Britta, oh my god!
And then I eavesdropped on your conversation when you told your mum. Because I'm like,
did you?
Yeah, I was in the kitchen and you're like, Mum, I have something to tell you. And I was like pretending to chop veggies or something. But I wasn't doing anything. I was just like... This is too good to miss. I wanted to kind of watch to see your mum's expression, but that would be too weird. So I was just I froze and intently listened.
Oh my god. Okay, can you tell me what do you remember of that? Because I really want to hear what
you told her. You were like, this is thing I have to tell you. There's this guy I really like, and we went on a date, and I want to date him or something. And then there was silence for a while, and then your mum laughed and she's like, oh, you're pulling my leg or something like that. Funny joke. And you were like, no, I'm serious. And then I think that's when I casually walked in as though I'd not been listening the whole time. And she looked at me, she's like, is this true? And I was like, yeah. Yeah. She needed confirmation that we weren't pranking her.
I do, I just remember her saying you're joking, right? No, you're joking. No, you're joking, right? Like,
Yeah.
no, you're kidding, right? And I'm like, for fuck's sake, how many times do you have to say? No.
It's totally a thing you would do, though. Like, I know you, like, as a joke, you totally would. That's why it's hard to, like, trust what
so
you
true.
say.
It is true. It is totally something I would do, because when I first wanted to tell my dad that I was gay, I told him, hey, I have some good news. I'm not pregnant.
Would you consider yourself bisexual now, or what words do you use for yourself, for your sexuality?
You know what? I've had so many conversations with my fiance about this, and it's been such an interesting experience, because I feel like I'm kind of evolving as a person, not because of my sexuality, just because, like, we're all growing always and changing and evolving all the time. Through this relationship, it just kind of, I don't know, it's been interesting. I've been talking to Moon about it, and I did wonder whether I was bisexual, but the label just doesn't, the feeling behind the label just doesn't feel right to me, because for me, bisexual means being attracted to men and being attracted to women. I mean, and that can vary to, the ratio of that can vary for everyone. It can be like 50-50, or it can be 90-10 in either direction. But that to me just doesn't quite feel right. I've really kind of, in my mind, I go and I ask myself, like, can I be attracted to such and such? Like, exploring the different genders or, types of people I could be attracted to. And my conclusion is that I am actually... The probability of me being attracted to a guy is, like, the least. So, like, there's, like, the least chance of me being attracted to a guy. So this is basically a massive anomaly, what happened to me. I don't want to use the word miracle, because that implies that, something good has happened, and it's not a good thing. It just is. It's just another thing, right? But it is a huge anomaly that I would be attracted to a guy like this and be able to see myself having a relationship, and so I think I would probably be more pansexual than bisexual.
It's also interesting, I think of the Kinsey scale, and there's some critiques about it, but I think as a base idea it's quite useful. You know the Kinsey scale, right?
Yeah.
0 to 6. So like the idea that anyone who's not exactly 0 or exactly 6 like must be bisexual or whatever, is like interesting, because if it is a continuum, there's got to be those few people who are like pretty much almost 100% gay, but like there is that one person, and I hear this the other way around. I hear women say like, oh, I was 45 and I had a divorced husband and I met this one woman and now we're deeply in love, but if we broke up, like I couldn't imagine being with another woman again. It just like happened at this one person when we really clicked.
Yeah.
And so like, would it be accurate to say they're bisexual? Because I don't know. Yeah, like you said, like attracted to men. If you're only attracted to one, then it's attracted to man. And then,
I'm attracted
like,
to man.
To man. And like, it does that.
Yeah.
Because you had some people like tell you, oh, now you're bi. Like, there wasn't even a question.
Oh no, I had people tell me now you're straight.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, and I'm like, yes, I am so straight. Oh my god. Yeah, I have people be like, oh, so now that you're regular, or like now that you're straight, I'm like, fuck you.
I remember when we were together, you weren't comfortable holding my hand in public. I was wondering if you hold Moon's hand in public.
Yeah, I do.
And you hadn't, like, you didn't with other women you dated before or after me. So like, how is it different socially, and like how are you aware of that?
Dude, it's so different, and it sucks. Because my whole experience of like dating women, I didn't feel comfortable holding a girl's hand, just because like walking down the street, I had like when I did on a few occasions hold my girlfriend at the time's hand, I'd had people like call out names, like just like in the car, just call out, and like it just gives me such a fright, and it just puts me on edge the whole time. I can't relax. Like, I'm constantly tense, I'm constantly on edge, and it's awful, and I hated it, and I just And I would always apologize, and I would feel horrible, and I would try and explain, like, I just don't feel safe. I think because I'm from a place, like, I come from the Balkans, and I've experienced, like, street violence. And I always have this, like, fear of, like, when you're on the street, like, you have to watch yourself. And so knowing that if I'm holding a girl's hand, I make myself vulnerable, and, like, I know that there will always be some idiots who will hurl either verbal abuse or, I don't know, maybe even worse. So, yeah, I didn't feel comfortable, and I felt so bad about it. And with Moon, when we first started dating, I told him, just so you know, I'm really not into PDA. And then that quickly changed, because with him, like, he's a really tall dude, and like, nobody messes with him. So I find myself, like, in the opposite spectrum. Like, I almost feel safer with him when I am with him, and I hate that. But I do. To the point where now when I walk alone down the street, it's not that I don't feel safe, but, like, having a massive dude who could beat anyone up, like, there is an element of security that comes with that, and I hate it. But it's just a fact. And so I do hold his hand, and not just that, like, I noticed immediately when we started dating, like, the way people responded to that relationship compared to how people responded to my previous female relationships is completely different. Like, there was a whole element, like, whole other level of acceptance and love and celebration that I was not used to, and it shocked me so much. And while on the one hand I loved it, on the other hand it absolutely devastated me, because it made me realize what, like, just, like, how much of a difference there is in how people are being treated based on who they are and who they're dating. And it made me, like internally so adamant to highlight the fact that I am queer, and that there absolutely needs to be more equality, because I felt it, like, I felt both spectrums of how people are being treated, and it's just not right. Like, it's subtle, and people don't do it on purpose, but it's there. It's like this subconscious thing, like heteronormativity and homosexuality. Like, there is a difference, and it makes me very, very upset.
Was there, did you do a lot of questioning when you first started going out with Moon? Like, in turn, like, questioning yourself? Like, is this what I really want? Is this gonna make me happy? Is, like, what is this?
Yep.
Was there a lot of that?
Yeah, I did go through a lot of self-questioning, and I did doubt myself a lot, and I did doubt whether this was a good thing to do, because I wondered whether it was just a phase, whether my attraction was, like, real enough for me to actually have a proper long-term relationship, or whether, like, in 2 months or 2 years or whenever the honeymoon period wears off, like, whether I'm gonna wake up and be like, whoa, this isn't for me. Meanwhile, there's this amazing person who I could potentially hurt, and I felt really torn up about that. So even before we actually started dating, I had a really, like, in-depth conversation, or series of conversations with him, explaining, you know, like, hey, I've only dated women before you. I'm not sure whether this is gonna last, whether, like, what I can, you know, whether I'm not gonna wake up one morning and be like, hey, I just want to be friends, or what. And he was so good about it. Like, he said, like, you know, whatever happens, it's fine. Like, whatever you need is fine. Like, if we just end up being friends in the end, that's fine. Like, I appreciate you telling me. And that really put me at ease, and it kind of, like, just took all this pressure off me. And it actually made it possible for me to be present in the moment and just try and explore, like, the attraction, the situation, and see whether it could work out. And then it did, and I knew within, like, a month of us getting together that he was the right person for me. Not because he's a guy, but just because he's amazing, like, as a person. I mean, I still have moments, because, like, my attraction to women dominates my sexuality. Like, I'm, like, 90 to 95% of my attraction is towards women, and then, like, 5 to 10%, it, like, fluctuates, is, like, everyone else. So, and I mean, when I say everyone else, I mean that includes all the genders, like all the remainder. Just at the end of the day, like I think of who I am with and why, and then it kind of makes sense.
So do you, like, obviously you can't really speak for other people, but like, would you say sexuality is fluid? And like, if so, in what way?
You know, when I first heard that theory that sexuality is fluid, I legit thought bullshit. Because to me, it seemed so fixed. For like the longest time, it just seemed so fixed. Because I could trace back my sexuality even to my like early childhood. And to me, it really, really feels like I was born the way I was born. And now, I don't have a clear answer. I don't. But I am more inclined to say that it can be more fluid. Because, like, I'm solely basing this on myself. And I know that everyone's experience is different. But I do question myself, like, am I... Like, on some days, I'm more open to being attracted to men, and then on other days I'm like absolutely not, and then on some days I'm more open to, like, I just feel like there's a bigger possibility of me being attracted to like people of other genders, and then on other days it's just women. So it kind of like it does move a little bit. I mean, it doesn't like move a lot. It's still like the ratio is still predominantly 90 to 95% towards women, and then everyone else is the remainder. But it does shift slightly, and this is very different to how I viewed myself and my experience of my sexuality, what it was like 10 years ago, when I thought it was like 99% just women, and then like that one anomaly, because, you know, just allowing for that, you know, that error bias or whatever. I guess I would say like it is possible that sexuality is fluid, but I think in the sense that we as people are fluid, like we're constantly changing and growing ourselves. So that's, our sexuality is just a part of us and a reflection of who we are. So in that way, it makes sense to me that it would be fluid and evolving. I was just gonna say, what about you? Like, what's your sort of perception on that? Like, I consider myself like monosexual, and that I'm attracted to not men. So I think most people use the word monosexual as like just attracted to men or just attracted to women. But like for me, I'm just attracted to like one category of humans, and the thing that they have in common is not men. And so it doesn't really make much sense to me to say I'm bi, because when guys hear that, they're like, oh, really? But also, like, for me, on the occasions I do find a man attractive, he's gay, or I'm, like, just way too butch for him to, like, even be remotely interested, you know? Like, I think there's... It's fine, I have a wonderful life. I'm, like, so happy with my situation. And it's not something that keeps me up at night. I was gonna say, I feel so bad for you, Britt.
I think, yeah, maybe in conclusion, like, for some people sexuality is fluid, and for some people it's not.
What do you think? Like, what's your sort of verdict on that? Would you say, like, from your perspective?
Yeah, well, I also think when we talk about sexuality, we can talk about being homosexual or bisexual or pansexual, but you can also talk about, you can be asexual or like demisexual or allosexual, I think is the term, of just like being sexually attracted to people, or like hypersexual. And I feel like that can definitely change. I identified very strongly as asexual until I turned 18, pretty much. So like, why can't who you're attracted to change? But it seems like for a lot of people, though, kind of the main gender, I guess, they're attracted to doesn't change much, even though they might experience other attractions outside of that, perhaps. Because even though you are dating a guy, you said still like, what, 90% of your attraction is towards women.
Yeah, I honestly think it's also different for everyone. For some people, it can be fluid. For others, it's more fixed. And I don't know what the factors... Okay. Yeah, and that's okay. Like, and you know, we should totally, like, take advantage of our freedom where we can explore and try things out and just enjoy life and appreciate other people. And it shouldn't matter, like, who they are and who you are. Just, yeah. Right?
I always wonder when someone comes out as gay and their parents say, oh, it's just a phase. I always wonder, I'm like, are they really actually, like, the parents, like, secretly bisexual and just, like, decided not to act on their same-sex attraction because it was, like, inconvenient or, like wasn't traditional or whatever? Because I always wonder, like, if someone's like, oh, it's just a phase, I'd be like, did you have this phase? Like, is this something that you experienced? Tell me about this phase.
Yeah, tell me about,
seem to, like, oh yeah, it's just a phase. Like, does everyone have this? Is this?
Yeah.
And if they did, be like, are you sure you don't still have these feelings?
Yeah, absolutely. I when I first came out to some people, they said to me, oh, well, okay, it's your choice. Like, if this is your choice, then we accept that. And I was like, it's not a choice, though. Like, it doesn't feel like a choice. The only choice I have is to pretend that I'm otherwise. Like, that's the only choice. Like, it's not that I could go either way. And then that made me wonder, like, whether these people did have a choice to a degree and then actually chose the heteronormative way, and, like, whether that's how they relate to gay people. Like, you have a choice because they have a choice.
If you're exactly, like, 50-50 attracted to men and women and you end up, like, with a guy, because I suppose if you are attracted to men and women 50-50, it's more likely that you're going to end up with a guy because there's more men who'll be attracted to you, right? Because more men are straight.
Exactly.
So, like, I wonder if they walk around just assuming that that's how everyone else experiences the world, and, like, why would you choose to be a lesbian? That's, like...
But that's
why would you put yourself through that, like, difficulty?
But yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I was wondering too, because, I mean, I have, and this is kind of, I think, why I think gay people kind of feel like there's a lot of stigma attached to bisexual people, is because they are perceived to have that choice compared to, like, gay people. And of course, like, why would anyone go down that hard route when you can easily just find, make things easier for yourself? Like, I have some one or two friends who told me explicitly, yes, I'm bisexual, but I will absolutely, like, female friends, I'm bisexual, but I'm going to marry a man. Like, say that outright to me. But, they say, like, oh, but I really want to go and, like, meet a girl and try things out and do all that, but I'm going to marry a man, like, because it's just easier, And I can't blame them for that, but not all bisexual people are the same. And they can't help who they're attracted to, and yeah.
Cool, thank you for being on my channel.
Thank you so much for getting me to come on your channel and talk about something other than me drooling over, I don't know, like Winona Earp or Lena Luthor, because that's basically what I do on my channel all the time. So yeah, it's good to, discuss, like, proper topics, and really nice to see you as well. Like, nice to catch up with you. Yeah, so thank you. This was really cool.
Bye.
Bye.